Hey guys, welcome back to another video. So in this one we're going to be going over the 5 secret cards from Ultra Mission 8. So this is pretty special, right, having 5, because usually we only have 3. I think the last time we had 5 was in Universe Mission 10, so that's almost 4 years ago now. So yeah, pretty special having 5. So going into the cards now. So first of all we have a Change Switch card. This is the, I believe, 4th Change Switch card in the game. So, pretty rare type of card. And this has Super Saiyan Blue Vegito, as well as Super Saiyan 4 Limit Breaker Gogeta Zeno. So that's pretty insane, right? Having 2 fusions in one card, right? So yeah, it's pretty insane. So they're hero types, and both of their super attacks only cost 6 energy, so quite low cost, which is good. And they're both high damaging attacks, so really, really good. Vegito has the Spirit Blaster, and Gogeta has the Soul Blaster. So I guess pretty similar names there. And all their sets are pretty good. Vegeta has slightly more power. You can see with 8,800 versus Gogeta. But Gogeta has more guard, right, than Vegito. But they've both got very good stats overall, right? Yeah, very good balance, which is good. And so yeah, we'll go over Vegeto's ability first. So when you put him into the attack zone, he won't be able to attack as part of a group they're around. But in return, he'll lower the 3 enemies that have the most guard down to 1. So that's pretty good, right? It isn't a permanent nerf, but that's still quite good, right? And when he attacks, he'll lower all enemies' ki by 25%, and that is including enemy supporters, so that's pretty good. And as well as next part is that if Vegeto's power has been lowered that turn, he'll restore it to its starting value, and his damage will be times by 3, and that's permanent too. So that's really good because there's a lot of cards like IOS, especially, that can lower your power. Goku Black is another one. And this guy basically, the Vegeta ability, basically his power gets back to normal, which is good, and his damage also permanently doubles. So it's actually a good thing for you if your power gets lower, because this Vegeta will get way stronger, right? So that's actually really good. So yeah, he might be the stronger of the two, I'd say. But of course, the great thing about these change switch cards is that you can choose each round which ability you want to use. So yeah, this was Vegeta. Now on to Gogeta. So similar to Gogeta, when you put him into the attack zone, he won't be able to take part in in-group attacks. But in return, he'll actually lower the enemies with the 3 enemies with the most power down to 1. So where Vegito lowered the enemy's guard down to 1, Gogeta will do it with power instead. So I guess you can kind of choose that way if you want to lower the enemy's guard or power, right? That's pretty good. Again, not permanent, and only go for those 3 enemies with the most, but that's still really good, right? And then when Gogeta attacks, his power will permanently increase by 30,000, which is pretty insane. 30,000 is a massive boost, right? And it's permanent as well, right? So that's a pretty insane right there, pretty insane number. And then if the enemy team has at least 3 enemies, and Gogeta attacks an enemy that can't be stunned, then that enemy's damage that they take will be permanently times by 3. So that's pretty good. But it is only for 1 enemy, right? So you can't really guarantee you're going to hit him. So let's say for that last little bit, I'll say Vegeta is better because he increases his own damage by 3 times. But they're both really good, right? I definitely think Vegeta is a bit stronger, but they're both really good, right? I think it depends on what you want, right? Do you want to lower the enemy's power or guard, right? And that kind of is probably the main deciding factor with which one you go for. But they're both really good, right? So yeah, possibly the strongest out of these 5. Definitely the most expensive one. He's the most expensive out of this whole mission, right? So it's going to be hard to get for sure. So I probably won't get him for a while, honestly, but yeah. Hopefully I can get him one day though, but he's quite expensive still. So yeah. So on to the next card. This is Cooler. So I guess another classic card. Another villain as well, because last mission we had Goku Black, so finally get another villain is pretty cool. So really cool card. Actually might be my favorite one, honestly, because I like the shadow in the background of him, the water going down his body. It's really cool, right? So really, really cool art. Nice. HP is also pretty high, 4,000 is quite good. He is an elite type, only 5 energy for his super attack, which is pretty cheap, which is nice. And then on the second round, you can change into his, 5th form. And once he transforms, he'll become immune to ki damage, which is pretty good. And his power, guard, and damage will double. So that's pretty good, right? So good fix there. And then for his main ability, at the start of each round, if you have more HP than the enemy team, your hero energy can't be lowered by the enemy that turn. That's pretty good, right? And also, when Cooler is put into the attack zone, for the less ally attackers you have, the stronger that Cooler will get. So he'll actually increase his power, his damage, and his damage reduction. And I saw that if you put him by himself, his power and damage will be times by 10, and he'll only take 10% of normal damage. So that's his biggest boost right there if you put him by himself. But of course, the more ally supporters of course, the more ally attackers you have, the weaker Cooler will get, right? So yeah, you want to have just a few number of supporters or attackers, sorry, ally attackers, sorry. If you put everyone up, then Cooler won't get much boost at all, right? So it's a bit hard to use them, I think, because you want to put a lot of guys up, to do the damage. But if you do that, then Cooler won't get much boost at all, right? So you would probably want to only have like 3 maybe guys, including Cooler, attacking. Otherwise, you won't get much out of him, right? So yeah, he might be honestly one of the weaker ones, just because of his effects are good though, but it's just kind of, I think, hard to use because it's kind of counterintuitive in a way, right? You want to put a lot of guys up to do the damage, but if this guy you want to kind of put him by himself, or at least just have a few number of guys attacking with him. Yeah, but it's really cool, and yeah, just a cool card, Or the I guess because I've been putting a lot of classic cards lately, and it's another really cool one. So yeah, I mean cooler, cool, but yeah, really dope stuff. Okay, so next up at number 3 we have Bardock. So this is from the episode of Bardock special. So yeah, pretty cool stuff. Good Super Sam. So he is a Berserker type. He's got only 4 energy costs for his super attack, so it's pretty low, even lower than Cooler, so it's really good. And on second round, he can transform into Super Saiyan using a Awoken Saiyan Burst, which is the same card action ability that Broly had in the last mission, so it's pretty good. And so he transforms, he'll do some damage, and his Miracle Chance will greatly increase, and from what I've seen, it increases by quite a lot, so he's going to have a really high chance of getting those 3 perfects, which is pretty nice. And also, based on the amount of damage you've taken once he transforms, Bardock's super attack damage will increase. So basically, by that number, right? So for example, if you took 10,000 damage, then Bardock transforms, he'll have 10,000 damage added onto his super attack. So that's pretty good. If you took a lot of damage, man, he can get potentially a massive boost to his super attack damage. So that's quite scary, right? It's pretty strong, right? I think. So yeah, quite nice there. And then for his main ability, so just before you make your move each round, Bardock's ki will be recovered, and his power level will double, and he'll also become stronger versus ki damage. So that's pretty good. Unfortunately, those effects are not permanent, which is a bit unfortunate. But those effects do increase, or get more powerful the longer the battle goes on. So basically every turn getting stronger, right? I know for the power level it's doubling each turn, so on the first turn it's 2 times power level, second turn 4 times, third turn 8 times. It's pretty good, but again not permanent, but it's all quite good I think. And then for the second part of this ability, so when you put him into the tech zone, for every ally supporter you have, Bardock's damage and power level will increase by 1,000. So that's pretty good. And those 2 boosts are permanent, right? The damage and power level boosts there. So even if you only have 1 or 2 supporters each round, that's still stacking, right? That's pretty good still. So yeah, not bad. I think honestly I'll probably put him higher than the Cooler in terms of how good they are, but he's probably not as good as the Vegito and Gogeta card, right? Because those cards, kind of having 2 abilities in one, just kind of just so good, right? So they're still quite good, I think. Yeah. That was it for the main 3 cards in the actual machine, right? These next 2 are not in the actual machine. Basically, you can get a random chance to win them each time you play the game. And if you do win them, you'll get a card pack. And inside the pack will be one of these 2 cards, right? So you don't actually know which one you're going to get. So yeah. So the next one, number 4, we have Goku. Of course, this is Ultra Instinct Sign or Ultra Instinct Omen Goku. So very cool art. Yeah, shot right from the anime, which is pretty cool. So elite type, he's got the Meteor Kamehameha for 6 energy, so again, relatively low cost. And then on the second round, he has this card action ability, which is the Kamehameha. And this extra effect actually heals your team, so it recovers some HP. And the amount is 3,500 times the round number. So on the second round, that's 7,000 HP recovered. On the third round, that's 10,500. So similar to Bardock, the effect gets stronger the longer the battle goes on, so pretty good. Some nice healing there, which is good. And then for his main ability, this is actually not a new one. This is actually from a promo Ultra and Goku card that came out maybe 2 years ago. But the effect is still really good. Basically, what it does is that if the enemy team has at least 3 enemies in it, then whenever the group that Goku is a part of is attacked, you'll only take basically 70% of the normal damage. So basically, almost a third of the normal damage you take will be cut, which is pretty good. And any enemies attacking you that have 15,000 power or more will have their power lowered to 3,000 for the rest of that turn. That's pretty good. Quite good defense, right? Because it's for the whole group. So he is an elite type. So basically, him and any other elite types that on your team will be, included, right, in that defensive bonus. That's pretty good. Now, the previous card was a hero type, so that's quite interesting because they're different types. You can kind of have potentially, elite type and hero type team with both of these cards, maybe. Like, I'm not sure if that's really going to be strong, but it's quite interesting, right? So, yeah. I'll say it's probably not as good as the other card, just because I think there are more hero type cards that can benefit from it and you kind of build a strategy around. But this guy's still quite good, I think. So yeah. And very cool card art. But I'll probably put them around the cooler card in terms of how good they are. So probably the 2 weakest ones, I'll say, this one and the cooler. But even saying that, they're still really good, just compared to these other cards. They're not as good because these other cards are really, really strong, right? So yeah. Okay, and last one we have Monaka. But it's not really Monaka, it's actually just Beerus in the Monaka costume. But still pretty funny, right? Because it says Monaka here, so it's pretty funny. So yeah, pretty cool, interesting card art, man. He looks really angry. And just based on the stats, he's by far the worst card in the game because HP, power, and guard are 1,000, so that's pretty terrible, right? Yeah, and honestly, HP is a bit of a weakness for sure. I mean, 1,000 is quite really low. So, but the actual abilities are really strong, right? So, anyways, here's a Berserker type. I think this is called the God of Destruction's Jest or something. For 4 energy, so all these cards have really low costs, right, for their supers, which is pretty good. Then he has a touch action ability. This is the Superstar Break, and the extra effect for this is that it lowers the enemy's guard to 1, which is pretty good. So definitely nice there. He also has a unit with Vegeta and Piccolo, so both good members. They both got a lot of good cards. For 7 energy, so pretty high, and this is a revival unit. So yeah, revival units aren't really a thing anymore, like I said in other videos. Maybe once the meta changes, we might be able to use them again, but at the moment they're still not really viable. So it could be nice in the future, but as of right now, it's not really usable, to be honest. Yeah, still nice though. And for his main ability, this is really, really good. So actually quite similar to Bardock, because like Bardock's ability, it activates just before you make your move each round, and Monaka will become immune to stun for that round. So basically for the whole battle, he can't be stunned, which is really quite good. And also his ki will be recovered, so similar to Bardock, and his power, damage, and power level will all double, and they'll permanently double, unlike Bardock, which is pretty big difference, right? Just from that alone, this card is way better, because it permanently doubles, right? So it stacks each round. So power, damage, and power level all doubling, so that's really good. And the actual amount, I guess the actual multiplier will actually increase even further, depending on how much damage you've taken, right? So if your HP is really low, it will increase by even more. It'll be like a massive boost, right? But even without those extra boosts, right, from your HP decreasing, there's still 2 times at the minimum, right? So second turn, that's 4 times power, damage, and power level. So yeah, that alone is really good, and you can potentially get more if your HP gets lowered, right? So that's really, really good. Yeah, just that alone is really strong. I mean, he has really terrible stats, right? But that ability more than makes up for it. So that's really, really good. And yeah, Vegeta. So like I said, the Vegeta and Gogeta card is the most expensive one out of the set, but this Monaka is probably the second most. It's actually quite close behind the Vegeta and Gogeta card in terms of price. So yeah, these two are quite expensive. I definitely don't think I'll be able to get them anytime soon. I need to get lucky just by pulling them, but apart from that, I won't be able to get them for a little while, I think, because they're really, really expensive. Yeah, that was all these 5. So yeah, again, pretty cool having 5 secrets. That's quite special, So yeah, a lot of goodness here. So yeah, and actually bought the cooler card last night. So hopefully that arrives, soon. And I'll try and put some videos up next week for you guys. Yeah, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.